hopefully you can see that in my videos. I'm really working. It's worth it to hover. If I can excite some kind of devotion in you through sharing my experience, and I'm finding that I can orient myself, that I can learn new techniques, it's good to know that this 48-year-old man's mind can still learn new tricks.
Labor and the expression of worth.
Some joyful progress to share with you right now. As I've mentioned before, I've been working on my right hand technique, this floating right hand, as opposed to either anchored with the pinky or anchored on the bridge. And I don't think I'm transitioning like to a fully floating technique necessarily, but the results of it, the fruits of it are this. So what's new in that for me, what I'm celebrating today, is the fact that I can move back and forth from strumming to a real quick, light, flat picking. Strumming. And so the benefit that I've gotten from over the past 2.5 years, breaking myself of this anchored, the pinky anchored here, and then also coming up from the anchor on the bridge, where my palm is anchored on the bridge, and then actually coming all the way up. The benefit of all of that work is that I've got this freedom of flow between my strumming and the flat picking. So yeah, I'm happy to share that progress with you today, and I hope just the concepts, the ideas of that help with the development of your technique. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it to hover. And I think the cool thing is that this is a prayer now for me when I decide to pick up, because it's an unanchored feeling. It's this sense of like, the reason I anchored is because I felt like I had to have a reference point. I had to have a context. I had to know where I was. Like I could never know where I was if I just let go. And I'm finding that I can orient myself, that I can right now learn new techniques. It's good to know that this that Travel and Trav, that this 48-year-old man's mind can still learn new tricks, can learn new technique, can practice new technique, can use logic, and then can take that step and say, okay, here's what it's going to take. So that's a good sign that we can learn new things. Along the lines of appropriate self-telling. Confession. The capacity to speak about our experience, even those experiences that are inspired by our shadow. Can we talk about the secret stuff? Can we make the secret stuff not so secret anymore? Bring the light. See life for all it's worth. The nuances, the stinky, juicy parts. We love these stories, don't we? It helps us to understand ourselves as humans, when we understand that we're not alone in our neurosis. Now, which details of the story are helpful? That's the question. And in what spirit do we share these details? Our intent must be for healing, not to re-victimize ourselves or to prove anyone else wrong or ourselves right. My hair is right at this stage where it's just right before it says, okay, I will lay down. And I can't help but just smile at myself. How do we give ourselves enough room what's that like? Releasing our resentments for self and resentments for others and coming into that really wide open space. So I just completed this video with the good report on the floating flat picking, and then I realized I get to make another celebration video on the floating finger picking that I've been working on. It's just there's just nuances to technique that I've been working with, especially in the right hand. I have some ideas about left hand work too, and it has to do with, you know, something that seems so obvious now, but just independence of fingers. That's what I'm seeing in my favorite guitar players right now is we've got these harmony lines moving and fingers are moving independently, and you know, even in diatonic patterns when you can really get those fingers making these shapes that are, there's like an intuitive thing. I know I practiced my scales anyway, that's left hand stuff. Right hand stuff, I have this tendency of I really bear down, and that's not bad. This is lighter. I'm not even really warmed up right now, but and then there is this thing where you can dig in deeper, and then you can let up. And the idea is not to settle on either one necessarily, as far as like I'm never going to anchor, but being able to move in and out of this completely floating right hand to where I'm anchored in here. And I think that's going to add to the dynamics of what I'm presenting. Thinking in layers of consciousness and layers of technique also, and how to integrate techniques. And sometimes we have to leave a technique behind to kind of move into another technique. And that can, for myself, in my practice, that's very unnerving. I didn't realize how much compulsion I had in my practice. You know, just pick up my guitar and start doing the same thing over and over again. We notice ourselves as musicians getting stuck in those ruts. So it's great to have good report right now to say, look, I really have been working on technique. Hopefully you can see that in my videos. You can see that I'm really working this, and I feel like it's my responsibility to share that with you. If I can excite some kind of devotion in you, through sharing my experience, and then maybe you can say, oh, well, what would happen if I picked up my hand, if I didn't anchor, or maybe if I just approached my right hand and my left hand technique more thoughtfully, less compulsively. I didn't realize how compulsively I was playing, as I mentioned, and I find that when I'm unanchored, it really causes me to have to really feel into every note somehow. And I guess maybe that's just because it's newer technique, so I have to devote more attention to it. It's not something I can do mindlessly yet. But I am starting to be able to do it and to talk at the same time. But it's the floating thing's so cool because the strumming doesn't come off so heavy-handed. And then you can I'm missing some stuff there, but you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So I can move right in and out of those single lines and the strumming just fluidly, and that's really exciting for me, both with the finger picking. And I didn't really do that much because, like I said, I didn't even warm up before I did this, but there's just a lightness that I'm discovering here. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, you can just watch it in the videos that are coming out. Just yeah, thanks. I found myself floating, hovering at the edge of the observable universe. I had in my hand a cosmic melon baller, and I was scraping out my own insides. I was blaming, I was searching, I was trying to accept the meaninglessness of it all. And I had. All the lies that we're told, all the lies that we tell ourselves, that we continue to tell ourselves, the lies that we were given, that we were born into, that are perpetuated in us. Each generation has some responsibility to do their work. For some of us, that work becomes our life's work because it requires that much attention. Our personal work becomes the universal work. The work becomes so intense it is all there is.
Labor and the expression of worth.